What's going on, you guys? This is your boy, the Anarkist. Welcome to the very first episode of the A Few Nobodies Talking About Nothing podcast. Like I said, I'm your boy, the Anarkist. I'm here with...
Nathan.
I'm Invisiblekatana.
My boy Nate and my boy Invisiblekatana. We're going to get this started. A few Nobodies Talking About Nothing. This is a podcast where we literally talk about nothing. The things that nobody cares about. Absolutely nobody but the three people in this room. So before we get it before we get it started, guys, I just want to let you guys know what's or see what's on your minds. I know today we're recording on Halloween night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, officially it's not even Halloween anymore,
right?
Is it?
Yeah, it's November 1st. It's
Halloween.
12:05.
Well, happy holiday season, motherfuckers! The time's upon us.
Right. Yeah. So
tomorrow is all Christmas stuff.
No shit.
Cares about Thanksgiving.
We were just talking about how Thanksgiving's new name should just be the holiday everyone forgets.
Thanksgiving,
because it is, man. It is.
Yeah, I like Thanksgiving. I like it.
It's fine.
What do you like about Thanksgiving, though?
I like eating. That's what I like.
But you can eat for Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like the turkey is Thanksgiving, but then Christmas is probably chicken. I guess. It'll still be another big thing. So it won't.
It's funny,
have an impact like that.
Speaking of that, what is your number one holiday tradition? Like something that you just cherish that you're gonna pass on to your kids. Like, what is that to you?
Go first, T.
I don't have one.
I'll tell you. Now, see, I'm living it right now. I've got 4 little girls, 5, 3, 2, and 5 months.
Okay.
So this year was really the first year that knew what was going on.
How old?
5. That's my oldest.
Right.
So my oldest, and she went for 3 fucking hours. 3 hours.
Trick or treating,
man. And I spent $20 on a Man in the Yellow Hat costume, and she was Curious George, right? And dude, you would have thought I spent $1 million and took a whole week preparing, because she just, every time someone goes, "Oh, it's Curious George and Man in the Yellow Hat," she just grabbed my hand, just smiled, and was like, "Fuck yeah, that's my dad." Yes, we're doing this.
Oh my god.
And you saw the picture, dude. All the candies. But for me, the holiday traditions are the ones, when I was a kid, it was the ones my parents made for me. So like picking out that Hallmark ornament every year, or going over to my grandma's house on Thanksgiving and falling asleep to football, right? Those are the traditions. But my kids, I grew up on chili every Halloween.
Okay.
My kids, goulash and chicken, fried chicken from Lee's out here in Michigan, man. I'm from Kansas City.
Yeah, right. You from Kansas City?
Yeah.
Actually, I was interested. What part of Kansas City are you from?
Okay, so it's just like Detroit. It's metro. So I grew up in Lee Summit, which is about a 20-minute drive to actual Kansas City.
Okay.
But the Missouri side. Let's make sure don't confuse it with Kansas. But back home we had all these traditions, and now I'm making these new ones with my kids that I hope one day they're talking the same way I am. Right.
Right.
So what about for you, man?
I don't know. For me, I don't know if we had any traditional things. All I can remember about the holiday is just the biggest tradition we have is just pretty much getting the whole family together. The only thing I really like about holidays is that those are basically the times of year where families basically make it a focus to all meet up together. Because the rest of the year is just like, okay, maybe if it's a birthday or something.
See you when I see you.
Yeah, but
why is that? Why can't we make Wednesday? Why do we focus so much on the holidays?
I think some people do that. It's super rare, but I think some people do definitely have the big weekly thing. And I think, oddly enough, a big part of that might just be that it's changed. Society has changed so much over time, because I think it was more common before, a weekly thing. Because I remember when I was younger, just during the summer, it would be me and my cousins would all go to my great grandmother's house. That's pretty much that was it.
Yeah,
me too. Same thing.
And
Sundays for me. What about for you, Demetrius?
In a week or just
in a week? Yeah, when you saw your grandparents, maybe a couple of the cousins or uncle and aunt.
I guess when I was younger, we used to do that a lot, because we were all a lot of my cousins, we are all the same age. So our parents did used to like to get together like
sure
over the
everybody was
weekend.
seeing.
Yeah, but it didn't happen as much. Like not like the holiday. On the holidays,
It
I
was
literally saw about
the
10
family.
cousins that I didn't know. Every single holiday, it'd be like a cousin I had to
It
be
was like a
introduced
family
to.
reunion.
Those awkward fucking I love yous when you're like, I don't even fucking know this, man.
Or
you know?
remember me?
Not
It's
really.
like, right.
Yeah.
Bitch, I don't know you from that chair over there.
It's always some old uncle talking about, I used to change your diapers. And it's like, bruh.
I ain't wearing diapers anymore, right?
15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but, all right. I'm going to just say this. We basically got 3 nerds sitting right here. 2 of which not married, but in relationships. 1 very married, Mr. Nate over here.
Yeah.
Very much with kids. You don't have kids, Terrence.
Nope.
You don't have kids. And I definitely do not have kids.
What does that definitely mean? He definitely doesn't have kids either. Like, what the
But-
fuck?
But he might have kids in the future.
Okay.
Right?
You
You
might
don't
not
plan on
have
having
kids in the future?
I'm
Like,
never, ever, ever,
Oh, you
ever
don't
going to
want
have
kids.
any kids.
Okay. Well, I
ever.
definitely do. I do want kids, yes.
How many kids you want?
I want 2. That's the ideal
Like a
thing
boy
for
and
me.
a girl
boy
thing?
and a girl, yeah. The generic deal.
And Nate, you
But-
have
I have 4.
4 kids.
Yeah. We wanted 6.
You might still go for 6.
Well, no, I mean, we wanted a big family. We have a big family.
Okay.
Is it all girls?
It's all
All
girls.
girls?
Yeah. You know, but with my wife's lupus and stuff, I mean, it's just, you know, it's one of those things where her health's a little more important than popping out more kids we got to take care of.
Right,
You know.
right.
So, for me, like, I couldn't imagine my life any different, man. Like, I hate it. You see it. You've seen it, right? At work, when people come up and they're like, 4 girls. Oh my God. You're just gonna die. You're just gonna have it. You don't have gray hair yet? No, because I enjoy my kids, man.
Man.
You know, like, yeah, I get it. It's gonna be tough, whatever. I mean, life is tough. Doesn't matter if you have kids or not. Life is tough. But man, I get to come home every day. I get to wake up every day to 4 little girls that think I'm the fucking shit. That I'm their world. That I can do no wrong. You know how amazing that is? Makes me pop out of bed, man. I don't need coffee, man.
I
I mean-
literally seen you with your kids, man. It look like y'all have so much fun, bro.
Yeah, but it can get crazy, man.
All right, I know it's probably a lot of young nerds listening to this. We are older nerds. We are like
90s, right?
Yeah, we are. I was born 90, Terrence.
92.
Oh my God.
You that young, bro?
Yeah.
He was born in 92, man?
92. God damn, dude.
My birthday was just passed. My birthday was October 6th.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
shit,
just turned
October
25.
15th, man.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So I just
I
turned
just-
25.
Just turned 25? You made it. You made it, bro.
Okay, let's touch on that because I'm white and 25.
If you guys didn't know, Nate is white.
Yeah, I'm white. Woo!
It's been about 8 minutes since we record. Like, some people figured it out, but if you guys didn't know.
Fuck you, man.
Some people probably
The
already figured it.
the nasally chuckling guy that doesn't know the microphone has to keep getting turned down is white. No, so because I've seen it before, and like 25 is a big deal. Why is that?
25 is a big deal for young African American males, particularly because there's like a stigma where, on average, a lot of 25-year-olds do not. A lot of young black males don't make it past the age of 25, basically, and it's funny because two good examples. Have you seen? I know you probably haven't seen this, Nate.
Okay,
but,
thanks.
Invisiblekatana. Have you seen an older, kind of black quote unquote hood movie called Don't Be a Menace? You remember that movie? Where in the opening scene of the movie, one of the guy's friends has a birthday cake for his friend. I think he was turning 21, in that movie. So it's like, 20 to 25, but, he did the whole spiel, happy birthday, homie.
Yeah.
And as soon as he was about to blow the cake, he got shot. So it was like, so he didn't make it to 21.
Right.
And also another thing is Kanye had a song, I forget the name of the song, but he in the song he said something like, I wasn't supposed to make it past 25. Joke's on you, I'm still alive. So that's like a running thing in the black community. It's like if you black and you a male, if you make it past 25, like on my 25th birthday, my mom went crazy. She was like, oh, I'm so glad you made it. And I was just like, thanks.
Yeah. I guess I never really had the 25 thing as far as race and stuff like that. For me, I don't even really celebrate my birthday that much. Like I've never, like I stopped that a long time ago. I just didn't really care that much.
Right.
I know Shayna do nice stuff for you still.
Yeah, my girlfriend's the holiday one, way far more than I am. Like because I had to work, so she went out with her friend for Halloween and stuff. But for me, it's like,
What was she for Halloween?
She just dressed up. It wasn't like an actual costume or anything. She just had an outfit, but it was just like, yeah, that's more her thing is like the holiday stuff. For me, it's just like, the next day or whatever. It's good. It's good. I don't know. I guess it was way more important to me when I was in school because it was like I'm out of school because of the holidays, so that made it a much bigger deal. Like Thanksgiving was like a big deal, even though I guess me being a nerd, I was always kind of annoyed that the TV shows were never on. So I'd be bored because I was like. Like on my mom's side, I'm the only grandchild. So if I went to like be with, if it was like us as the family, unless like my cousins came over, and it was typically just me. So I'd be like, man, I wish shows came on because I would just be by myself.
Right.
Yeah. Not know what to do.
Just bored. And it was just like, my uncle was out of town because he was the only one who actually had games outside of me. So I'd just be there by myself, just watching like Cartoon Network. Like this is
so what was your show growing up? Like you always had to watch because remember. When we were kids, man, and I know they still kind of do it, but it's weird times. Like, Wednesday nights and Friday nights, dude, 7 p.m. You better be in front of Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network because they're about ready to show one of the new cartoons.
No, me, the Disney Channel movie every Friday. Then what's there some Smart House? Halloween Town.
We just introduced Kidsy them to Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus.
Yep. Now that wasn't a Disney Channel movie, but I know that
it was on there a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where so many people saw it. It almost became that.
Man,
that was just playing at I want to say at the Henry Ford Museum.
Now,
I
man.
think
We're old enough to know classics. How fucked up is that shit, man?
Oh my God.
Sonny, that's a classic.
Back in my day,
shit.
See, I never thought I'd be one of those back in my days.
I was just thinking that when you're talking about waiting for TV shows, like here we are spoiled rotten, we got cable, we're just getting the internet, like we got all this shit, and we're over here like, but we didn't have Netflix,
All right, hold on. All right, Dragon Ball Z or Yu-Gi-Oh.
If I had to pick, I would say DBZ. Yeah, especially because they came on at different times. So DBZ came on before Yu-Gi-Oh, so you can enjoy them both.
Which one would you pick if you had?
I would say DBZ.
Gun
if
in
I
the
had
head?
to pick.
Gun in the head.
See, I'm gonna be the guy that everybody hates, but man, I remember dragging two of my best friends. I was 15, maybe 16 at the time, to the fucking movie premiere to Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, I loved that shit, man.
I should have went to. Okay, so that's a weird story.
But see, you were 10, so you were like in the prime of that shit. See, I was a little too old.
Right.
Like people would kind of look at you.
Yeah.
So funny thing about it was the Yu-Gi-Oh movie. That was. It probably wasn't the same weekend, but anyway, my cousin and I, because we were younger, we had to get dropped off. So we had a choice, and it was like, do we go see the Yu-Gi-Oh movie? Because I remember it was like, you get a card or whatever.
Yeah.
But then, the Jet Li movie Hero.
The what?
Jet Li has a movie. It's just called Hero.
Oh yeah.
So we were like, all right, because we both grew up like in martial arts, and like it was like, all right, so do we go see Yu-Gi-Oh or Hero? And it was like, well, it's a new Jet Li movie, so we got to go see the martial arts movie. And then they told us, it was like a subtitle and stuff, and it was like no big deal. And we went to watch it, and we were so bored because it's not a bad movie. It was one of those. Yeah, it's because it was one of those movies where it was like, here's this epic trailer of the Jet Li action movie, and we went to see it, and that's like a serious drama movie with action in it.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that because every trailer was like this epic Jet Li action movie.
Same as Moulin Rouge. Like when I first saw it, dude, I was in the front row throwing popcorn at it. Got kicked out of the theater. It's one of my favorite movies now. I just wasn't ready for something.
Right? Why didn't you like it?
Especially if you don't even know. Like you might be kind of ready, and then it still bores you depending on how you feel. But if you don't know, we were like. Jet Li action movie.
Yeah,
right.
And it was just.
It's funny you said that, T, because all right, Thursday I know you're going to go see the new Ragnarok, the new Thor movie, right? Yeah. Thor Ragnarok. Me and Nate are conflicted on this. I like to see pretty much all the reviews and responses of a movie before I go see it. It really doesn't change my mind about it, but I like to see what the
that's bullshit. It changes your mind a little bit.
It does.
And what I mean by that is, let's say you wait to see this, right? Mm-hmm. And you wait for the reviews to come out, and they say they're shitty. Well, then it's become a rental, right? Or it's become wait until it comes on Netflix or HBO. Mm-hmm. Like, you may say it doesn't change your mind, but like my point of it is if I want to fucking see something, I'm going to see something. Now, I'm in a different boat than you guys. Mm-hmm. I've got 4 young kids that I devote my life to. So
you can't just say I'm going to the movies today.
It's, right. It's like, pinch of jealousy. Like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to see, man, I remember me and my boys we went and saw Superman and all these things, but that's not my life anymore.
Right.
So, like, when I'm thinking about that movie, I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking renting that when that comes out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm renting that shit, not waiting for it to come on Netflix or HBO or whatever.
I'm gonna be honest though, I know that's how some people roll, but I can sit there and listen to a reviewer give a bad review and still say, that's his opinion, I'm still gonna see it. Still open-minded. You know what I'm saying? I know some people that's like, oh, well, he said the movie sucks. Like, I'm done with it.
You follow certain people.
Because I know, the thing with this Thor movie, I know is from what I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about it, which to me excites me. I don't like when a movie is too overly praised because
it gets your expectations up.
Let's dive right into this. With comic books and how they've blown up. We don't have to talk about it. It happened.
Yeah.
It happened. Doesn't matter where it started at. You've got these diehard fans that are just like, oh, that's wrong and that's wrong. Buddy, you're on an epic scale now. And now we get to see different stories. We get to see things. If you go in just thinking, I hope for a good story with my favorite characters, you're going to be a lot more impressed than being like, I hope they fucking follow that motherfucker to a T. Nah, man. They're not going to do that. Because these people that are creating these movies are the ones that loved that stuff, right? Yeah. That were the nerds back in the day that got picked on or whatever. Well, so they see it from a different perspective than
you said. The people who make the movies are
yeah.
I don't know if that's always the case though. Like as far as like, you know what I mean?
No, I completely agree with that, but I mean, for me, who kickstarted it, J.J. Abrams, these guys that kickstarted this stuff, this reboot of nerdism, they were.
Right.
Now, does that mean it's going to go through some hands that may not cherish it as much as me? That's fucking anything, man.
Yeah.
That's, I say enjoy the ride because it is going to end. Right? It is going to end. The great quality that we're getting, the great storytelling that we're getting, the fact that we get to see a comic book character on the small screen, on the web, on the big screen, consistently all the time is amazing. I mean, when we were growing up, man, you had what? The Batman series,
cartoons,
the Marvel
cartoons, yeah, and that's it.
And it was
and you had a couple of throw-ins in there. Spawn,
like the biggest, and really when you think about it, if we want to talk about the evolution, probably the biggest superhero movie was like Superman. They made a Superman movie back in the 70s,
80s,
in the 80s. So it's like you got that, and you got maybe like a Batman movie every once in a while.
Tim Burton, and then it turned to shit back in the.
But let me ask you this, and I want to ask my boy Invisiblekatana this because this is, like I said, this is a Anarkist and Nate debate. You need to break the debate. Do you think, as a diehard nerd, do you think that the directors and producers of these new comic book movies should stick to some of the mythologies and plots and stories that, it's just tons of it. Should they stick? Because I know there are fans out there that's like, look, I don't want to see a movie that you guys changed. I grew up on these comic books. That's what I want to see. It's so many stories. Or do you think a director or producer should have free reign to take a story and kind of, make it more interesting for a movie? What do you think? Yeah.
Honestly, I would say the change is better. Okay. If I'm being personally honest, that comes more from the side of even though I like comics, I typically couldn't afford them, so that's why if I get comics, I get like for The Walking Dead is my best example. I get the compendium, which is like 50 issues all in one, and I basically have to wait like 2 years for this giant thing to come out. Yeah. And it's like I can't buy every issue. It's like $60 when it comes out, and it's just like I'll read through like almost 200 pages worth of stuff, and it'll be like, okay, that was great, and I have like all three, and I know the series is ending, so four should be the last one, but it's like that's how I read that because it's like that's a giant chunk, and that's just that. Like with superheroes, it would be way harder to do that because it still would be this omnibus from the 80s, 70s, 80s, that sort of thing. Right. So when it goes to movies or even like the TV shows, I like the blend. Like some stuff I think should stay the same. Like I'm one of the people who's like some elements I like when it stays the same, and then other stuff is like, all right, maybe something just didn't work, or maybe it was some stuff is just definitely dated. Like if you go some elements, it's just like we have to change this or this.
Right, because we gotta keep in mind like when they made these comics, like it's not now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So some stuff definitely does change, and then you go into like the way they sometimes have to do it because of legality stuff. Yeah, is like I can't hate how everything.
And the thing is, man, is if you're a purist when it comes to comic books and space travel and the quote unquote nerdy stuff.
Right.
It's all about creativity and finding your own place of comfort.
Yeah.
You know, like my dad loves Batman, but he's not too fond of the new shit. Why is that? Well, because he grew up with Adam West Batman, you know? He grew up with the campiness and that stuff, and he appreciates the new stuff, but he doesn't enjoy it. For me, I disagree with that because, man, I saw a news story where Batman was the dad and Joker was the mom, and Bruce Wayne died. He was the one who got shot.
That's
Flashpoint, yeah, that's so fucking intriguing to me. I mean, that's so cool. Who, you know, like how it takes what's great about Batman and Joker is they're both insane, but one justifies it by trying to do good, and the other one says, "Fuck it, there is no good."
Yeah.
Right. So for me, that's because to me that's what death is. That's what it is. You're either going to try to step through it and find your own sense of justice of why something happened, or you're going to go completely insane, especially when it's a parent or a child. You know,
I actually just recently, I don't know, you guys watch the show The Gifted? It's like the new X-Men
dude, I
show.
just started it. How do you like it?
I think it's really good.
It's interesting,
really
right?
good show,
And the fact that the dad is a prosecutor for the mutants, and he instantly fucking changes his mind. I mean, the moment he found out his kids were mutants, he's like, all right, we're going rogue.
Yeah.
Fuck these motherfuckers, we're done. Like I gotta save my kids. Like, and that's what I love about it, because, you know, 15 years ago we wouldn't have had a story like that, because the networks or whoever would have been too scared, because 15 years ago you can't mass produce a show like you can now.
Right.
I mean, look at Netflix. Look at how they've revolutionized.
Oh, they definitely. Yeah.
I mean, they're pumping out TV series every fucking week. And why is that? Because they can shoot for 3 months, make 10 episodes, release it all at once, see if it hooks. If it hooks, buy 10 more episodes, do it in 3 months, it's done.
Yep.
You know, it's insane, and it's crazy that people are complaining about that. I mean, yeah, when you're messing with greatness and when you're creating new ideas and things are catching on, there's gonna be shit. Show me one person who has made something great that hasn't fucking made shit or done shit.
Right. Yeah. No. I think when you pushing the boundaries and you like someone who comes out and is actually creative and unique, the very first thing people gonna do is say, okay, that's some weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's not
right.
And then after a while, they're gonna see the genius. And I think that's how it always happens. Like Albert Einstein is a crazy motherfucker until all these inventions, and then now he's the smartest guy in the world.
Speaking of which, who the fuck knew Nat Geo could produce some good fucking TV, man? Have you seen that Einstein show?
I've heard it was pretty good though.
It's good.
I remember seeing the trailer and being like, "This actually looks interesting."
It is interesting to a point. I mean, it does get droll at times, and you're just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. He's Jewish. I understand. But at the same point, like, it's a very interesting look at his life. I mean, it makes you rethink genius, right?
Okay.
I gotta watch the name of the show, by the way. I think, right? Genius?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
I think so.
But no, like, right now I am hooked on Gotham. I can't get enough of that shit, man. And it's from exactly what we were talking about. Like, I saw the first pilot, and I was like, okay, it's all right.
Yeah, a lot of people fell off. It's one of those weird things where, because my girlfriend stopped watching it because she didn't like how the first season ended, but season 2 was so much better than the first season. I was like, I wish everyone would come back, and it's even better now.
Yeah,
it's just
like, I mean, he's becoming Batman right now. Yeah. Are you all caught up?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
like,
dude!
It's the way they handle, like Penguin and Riddler is like incredibly well done. Like the way they handle some of these characters.
They just brought in Solomon Grundy, which was genius. How they did that.
Solomon Grundy, yeah. So that it's really, they definitely do some really cool stuff. It definitely changes it up, and you know, it changes like the origins of those characters. But it's like,
I mean, does it really? I mean, because think about it. Like, the Batman that you know is a grown adult with an old butler who fights villains that he's been supposedly fighting for years. So, you know, the origin stories in the comic books and all that stuff, but at the same time, like, that's where the creativeness is, right? Like, let's create our own origin story from when he becomes... We know the story of him as a child and him as an adult,
Right.
What about it as an adolescent and a teen?
Yeah. I kind of, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier, Nate. Like, even though I will argue for keeping the folklore, keeping the mythology sort of the same, I do appreciate when you can kind of build off of the folklore that you know. You know what I'm saying? It's still what you remember, but it's like a new creative twist on it. I do like that. Yeah. But all right, let's switch gears a little bit. And see each of our perspectives on social media. What do you think about it? Do you use it? I'm gonna toss over to Nate first.
Okay, so I gave up social media 4 months ago. It's the
4 months ago?
Was it longer than that? 6 months?
Dang, how can you go that long?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. One,
no Facebook.
I'm not. No, listen. One, I'm not trying to, be the next Scorsese. I'm not trying to be the next Brad Pitt, whatever, right? So I don't really need a social media. For me, it made me work harder at my relationships in my life. My grandparents that live long distance, my parents that live 700 miles away, my uncles I rarely see. A text message from them or to them or a picture of my kids or whatever means a lot more to me and hopefully to them, but to me it means a lot more.
Because they can't just kind of scroll through.
And their niece or great niece or granddaughter or great granddaughter is right next to a complete stranger's picture, right? Like, to me, it doesn't take away. So, like, for me, it makes me work harder on building those relationships and staying in touch with people. Two, fuck all the bullshit that's on there, man. Like, let people live their fucking lives, man. Like, when you get behind a keyboard, you get so fucking brave and so stupid, man.
Internet thuggery.
It's insane how mean people are.
What did you give up? Facebook?
I tried Twitter for a week and I said, fuck this shit, man. You're limited. Everybody listening and you guys, I've just met Terrence and he already knows I'm a talker, right? So, these character limitations, no thank you. Two, like, for me, man, it's a little scary. Like we were talking about this, even before I gave up social media, we never posted any of the kids' pictures on social media.
How come?
Because that's the new child predator, man.
Right.
That's the new white van, right?
For some reason, in my mind, and maybe this is just because I got a sick and weird mind, every time I see a kid's picture on there, I'm always imagining like some sick ass freak. With the Jergens and just, what I'm saying?
Well, I'll give you my psychologist's number, but second, like, no, I'm just kidding.
Because it's like, all right, you see a kid on there, like, think of a child predator. Like, they don't have to go outside. They can just go on the internet.
You're not even a parent, bro.
Right.
Like, it just baffles my mind how obsessed we are, and this is my fourth point, of creating what I like to call a Facebook virtual reality, right? And I kind of noticed myself doing that. Oh, things are great, Yeah, oh man, look at my perfect house. Look at my, look at my perfect new shoes or whatever the fuck.
No, actually, that is,
and it's not only the new white van, it's the new keeping up with the Joneses, and you can't keep up with fake, man. You can't keep up with fake gold, thinking you have to buy real gold, man.
Right.
You can't keep up with that shit.
Right.
And man, I'm so less stressed out. Terrence, I know you probably don't believe that, but I swear to God, like, I'm a lot more relaxed.
You got okay, shut your line ass. Shut your line ass.
But no, man,
you ain't less stressed out with 4 damn.
I spend more time with my kids.
Right.
I'm more engaged, and the issues that I deal with are on a daily basis. I don't feel hopeless anymore. Because when you look on Facebook and it's like Vegas and oh my God, my sister has cancer. Oh my God, my aunt has cancer. Oh my God, your brother has cancer. You're like, fuck, man, the world fucking sucks. And it doesn't, dude. It's beautiful. But if you shut that shit off and just go outside and make some connections, and dude, I was talking to this family today, man, and because I had to take Kinsey out again. We dropped off the younger ones. She was going strong. And we ran into this family, and they gave a compliment about, oh my gosh, you don't see dads dress up very much anymore. That's really sweet. I'm like, thank you. I said, oh, you got your son. I said, that is such an awesome. He was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, dude, and she homemade a fucking sewer box that he was like crawling out of, dude. Had a little fucking sewer thing on his hat, awesome. And she did that herself, man. Wow. And you know what I got to do? I got to tell her that is fucking awesome, and her face lit up. When you do that shit on Facebook, It's numbing.
It's
numbing.
You can see a smiley face emoji.
Man, fuck that shit, dude. Fuck that shit.
It's in a heart emoji. Now, see,
but no. But those are the negative points.
Right.
For me, the reasons that it's hard is I don't feel as connected to the world, which is kind of a contradiction, right?
Yeah.
But I don't feel as connected. I don't always get the jokes anymore, the pop culture references.
No, you have to be fully engulfed in pop culture to get some of these memes these days. Like, just stuff will fly over your head. Like,
stuff will come back from the 80s and 90s.
Exactly. I know. But, like, that's the thing is, like, I don't know, like, it's hard for me to make quick connections with people, not being on it. I don't get to hear from my grandparents, aunts, uncles, family as much as I do. But again, for me, it's quality over quantity.
Yeah.
It's making these personal connections, these things where you feel and the other person feels that moment of serenity, right? And you don't get that on Facebook, man. And people are obsessed with it. Not only Facebook, but Instagram and fucking Tinder and all that fucking shit, dude. All that shit, man.
Yeah, Snapchat, Twitter. But all right, T, what do you think about it? I know you actually just kind of got on a lot of social media, right?
Okay,
like months ago.
So YouTube is, I would say, my main thing because of my channel.
Of course.
So
Invisiblekatana.
Yeah.
Where some of y'all listening to this podcast. 7K subscribers strong. Go ahead.
So
7K.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that was like my main thing is YouTube, and that was.
I guess it is social media. We gotta.
Yeah,
'cause YouTube
I
is like TV. The most like me and most people.
Yeah.
See,
but
I don't see YouTube as social media, but
and I guess
that's splitting hairs. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I guess the reason that I kind of look at it that way, I guess now, especially with how YouTube has changed, where people from YouTube are so popular, like that's where you get stuff like VidCon is because of people from YouTube who just vlog or make beauty videos.
Right.
And I think that transitioning into other social medias is almost what makes YouTube a social media.
Okay.
And so after YouTube, like the only reason I ever actually even got a Facebook page was because of school. Because we went to school together, and I used to be, because I'm a nerd, I was in the manga club. I was in the Japanese manga club.
That's awesome, dude.
So, because I was in that, I became president, I think, during our club's third year, because our former president, he graduated, so I ended up becoming president. And it was like, well, I need to make a Facebook page, and that was just to stay in contact with the group, to be like, all right, if you guys don't do email mostly, it'll be through Facebook. And so it was more for the group than even me, because I was like, I don't even care.
So,
like, I hated Facebook because I was like, there's no point for me.
Did that help, or was it like irrelevant?
It helped for the group for sure.
Okay.
And I just had to make a personal one, so it was just like, it was really just for the group. So
Isn't that what it was originally intended for, wasn't it?
I think so. It was for like business people,
college students, right?
Yeah, the exclusivity of it and all. Yeah, so it was kind of
The Facebook.
Yeah,
as it started.
Yeah, so it was kind of, that's why I got into it, and then I didn't really utilize it for myself until someone asked me during one of my YouTube videos. It was like, hey, do you happen to have a Facebook fan page? And I was like, no. And I literally made it after I read that comment. They asked me to, and I was like,
did he troll and go home like, what the fuck, man? You don't have fucking Facebook fan page? What's wrong with you, dude? Like,
are you trying to make it or what? Bitch.
Do you even exist? Do you even exist if you're not on Facebook?
Yeah,
like,
so it was
these trolls,
like,
you're killing me.
yeah, but it's like, it was as simple as that.
What?
Like
These trolls.
Yeah.
Internet trolls. They're just,
Yeah, but it was as simple as that, and it was just to boost that because someone else kind of referenced it. Yeah, and then I guess recently, or I guess I can't say recently, it's been maybe a year and a half or so, but I've been on Twitter going on 2 years, and that's really it, and that's been out for a while. And that was
shout out to his 58 followers on Twitter. What up?
Yeah, like all
7,000 viewers, but 58. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to all 30 Twitter
handle, man. Show it up.
It's all Invisiblekatana. Invisiblekatana, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Instagram, I'd probably say is actually my favorite, but that's only because I got into photography.
Right.
Okay,
and so Instagram is like strictly photography and like video game photography that I do.
Side note, we'll talk about it later, but we're looking for someone to do Christmas pictures.
I can definitely do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
And for me,
Yeah,
now I'm
you,
a
man.
huge,
You're a bitch, is what you are.
I'm a huge proponent of social media. Social media is life right now. I mess with Facebook. I mess with IG, Twitter. I'm starting to really get big on Twitter. I'm messing with it. But
I'm
yeah,
starting
man.
to.
Do your handle, man.
Oh, y'all know Anarkist Beats.
All right.
Anarkist Beats on Twitter, and Snapchat, and IG. But shoot, the reason I like it is probably Instagram is one of my favorite ones because of the thotties. Some of y'all don't know what that means, but because of the thotties, the thoughts, the
You can get that on
hoes.
Twitter too.
But yeah, man, it's just you get Twitter. You write Twitter, but Twitter is just you gotta sift through a lot of bullshit on Twitter.
I mean,
IG is right there, ass is in your face.
Yeah,
Titties is all up in your face.
Hashtags and stuff.
So yeah, but no, all right. To your point, Nate, I will be honest. When I first got on, because I wasn't a social media dude. I'm sort of a recluse type dude. I don't really like talking to people. I don't really like people, period. But
Fair enough.
That's why I didn't get Facebook.
right. So, but when I, started to try to put myself out there, I started on the internet trying to just sell beats. That's kind of my thing. That's why my handle's on everywhere. It's Anarkist Beats with a Z. So I just kind of had to get on it kind of by force. It's like I got to do a business, so I got to put myself out there. So I just got on social media platforms. Like the first year I did it, I wasn't even really active on it. But once I started to feel like, all right, let me get active. Let me really figure out how to use this so I can engage with a lot of my customers.
So the question is now, both of you are trying to get into the entertainment industry or dabbling in it or however you want to say. For you to be successful, do you have to be involved with your social media?
100%.
Why?
Because, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, Nate, I feel like the times that we are in now is much different than before, where it's like you could be a celebrity, you could be an actor or a singer or whatever, and kind of keep a level of, you know what I'm saying, just personal, keep your personal life away from a lot of people, unless you talk about like, the media. But because we have social media now, it's like your fans want to know what's going on with your everyday life, what's going on with you.
Do they have a right to that though? I mean, that's the thing is, has social media allowed us as a society to think that we should know everything about somebody all the time?
It does that for some people, for sure.
Yeah,
I would say you could definitely see that in some people where they act that way, and then I guess some people are just still normal.
Yeah.
But
what is normal anymore? Like fuck that word. I hate that word.
Right.
Yeah.
Who
Normal
is
is
normal?
fucking.
But my thing is, see, the celebrities, a lot of the big name movie star celebrities, in my opinion, and this is, you can take this as a prophecy. If you listening to the first episode of A Few Nobodies Talking About Nothing, this is an actual prophecy from the Anarkist. Listen up. In the future, if you are a celebrity and you don't care to update your social media on what you're doing, then your fans are going to say, fuck you. I don't care how much you can act in your movies or how much you can sing in your songs. You are going to get overtaken by these vloggers who say, I don't give a fuck. I'm vlogging 24/7. People want to know me and they're going to know every intimate detail of my life, because that's what a celebrity is now.
Well, I've got, Katie's got a cousin. She's about 10. And that's what she wants to do, man.
Vlog?
Is be a vlogger.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
past couple years. I'd say that's been a thing.
That's
Be a
like
YouTuber.
the biggest thing.
Yeah.
YouTuber, vlogger, content creator. So if you some person who just feel like, oh, I'm just uber talented and you can only get to see my talent. Don't look at my personal life. Okay, get the fuck on, because it's like a million people that's just like, look, I'm talented too, and you can see what's going on with my life, my wife, you know what I'm saying? So, people want to see that now. It's because here's my thing. I feel like,
But yeah, even in your own home, you got a door, man.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Like, people want that, and but because they pay money to see them, they feel like they deserve it. Like, that's
Even for free, like people on YouTube.
yeah.
Right,
And I don't
yeah.
understand where that started. Like, I serve people for a living, right? And for me, like, that doesn't, do I talk about my personal life, but they don't know everything, and that's okay. I don't know everything about them either.
Right.
But, like, it doesn't mean they just get to ask me willy-nilly fucking questions
Yeah.
That's true.
and be assholes.
But my whole thing is, it's going to be a different thing if you are what we call a public figure. I'm pretty sure a lot of politicians don't want us to know what's going on in their life, but they are public figures. And actors and actresses, I feel like if you want to go out on a limb to be an entertainer, the thing is with social media, I would say you don't have to let everybody into every detail of your life, because like you kind of just said, with Facebook, IG, we really don't know what's going on in a lot of these people's lives.
That's true.
All we know is what they show us. You see what I'm saying? Like if somebody put out, $100 bills on the table, I'm going to look at that picture and say he's rich. You know what I'm saying? He could have just gave that back to us. You know? So it's like it's all about perception. Like we want you to show us something. If you're a public figure, don't think you could just make a movie and go back into obscurity. You know what I'm saying? You have to give us a little, because we fell in love with you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got
you. We
you.
fell in love with you. Maybe not just the characters that you play. I'm not just in love with, what's one of Denzel's characters? Why you even bring his ass up?
Eli from the Book of
Eli.
You're
not just
any other character
movies.
is just a movie. Yeah. Like anything else is just
one of his awful movies. We're like, yeah, we know that one.
Yeah.
Watch your mouth. I like the Book of Eli. Watch your mouth.
I like it. I like it too.
Watch your mouth.
I tried, man. I tried to like it. I watched it 3 times, and I'm just like,
what don't you like about the Book of Eli? That movie was lit, man. What you talking about?
Nah, man.
He was beating people's ass. I didn't know Denzel could do all that, man.
Denzel's been doing that for years, man.
Who asked Denzel beat? Except for in Training Day.
Oh, that's all I had.
The Bodyguard?
The
Bodyguard?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or no, not the Bodyguard. Fucking the one with Dakota Fanning.
A Man on Fire.
A Man on Fire.
There you go.
Man on Fire, I think.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was a good movie though.
All right, fair enough.
I liked it too when I saw it.
But to my point, it's like we know Denzel. We know about his wife. We know about some of his kids. If he just there's a way you can do social media. The thing is, if you know how to do it right, people will follow you. You will have a lot of influence. You can pretty much do whatever you want. Because when I look at a lot of these bloggers who don't have any gripe, because the best bloggers do it right, whereas like they let people in on a certain portion of their life, but not like the whole thing. You know, some of my favorite bloggers, I really don't know, you know, what they really think on the day. You know, I just know what they show me. So it's like if you can use it that way, like, okay, guys, I'm going to show you this, I'm going to show you that. People will support you, they'll follow you, and you can create such an influence yourself. I feel like that's just where the world is going. Back then, celebrities, they had influence because they was backed by corporations. Now, you have YouTubers, vloggers, they have influence because they backed by individual people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we taking the power out of the, you know,
the business hands.
Yeah, the big man, the man's hands, and putting it to people.
Yet those vloggers, as you say, are still making money by those corporations.
They still are, but they have a lot more power than, let's say, Marilyn Monroe back in the day.
Fair enough.
You know, because people liked her, but if a Hollywood studio said her career is over, then her career is over. She couldn't get on IG or Instagram and create her own base anymore.
Start videos.
You know, so it's like it's everything is gonna be a give or take. It's gonna be a negative and a positive. Just like social media itself is negative and positive. When I go on social media, 80% of what I see is gonna be something that's gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Either people telling me about their own lives, which I don't give a fuck, or people telling me about, you know, I don't
Preach, brother, preach.
I do not give a fuck, bad or good. I'm the scroll king. If I'll start reading a few things on Facebook, somebody put their status. As soon as I see a word, I'm like, all right, fuck this. I'm scrolling. I got ADHD. But yeah, man, it's like you gotta take the good with the bad, man. It's gonna be people on there talking shit, doing a lot of fuck shit. But then there's people on there that's making themselves millionaires.
So what you're telling me is if you approach social media as life,
exactly
then you're
like
good.
Life. Exactly like life. You're gonna be a motherfucker walking around, man, life is so good, man. Like, it's just like, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in this motherfucker too. I know exactly what life is. So it's just like, that's the same thing on Facebook. When I see motherfuckers talking about, my life is real good. It's just like, you know they fronting. You know they on some bullshit. I think the way the world is moving now, man, you gotta get on social media, bro. It's just like, oh, you're gonna be lost. You're always gonna be lost in damn sauce.
You can always find something outside of, as far as news and social media, but like you're saying, as far as the celebrity side of it, I would say it depends what type. Like with us doing like media production and stuff, I'm doing like everything I can to just put like pictures up on Instagram just to show off my photography, and like my YouTube stuff is really simple, but I'm always trying to figure out how can I do some random
that's gonna
better
click
video.
with people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, you know, like I said, just as far as the business thing, it's not really me, it's just my skills.
Right.
And that's where I would say, for sure, kind of what you said as far as the celebrity, that's where I would say it certainly applies to business, because if you don't show your skills constantly, there's a bunch of people who can do it, or or who will show it, I should say. Like, you can have the same skills, and it's just like who you know, sort of thing. Where it's like, if you know someone and you're not as skilled as this other person who is, that might be your friend, so they get you the job. It's like the same as social media, where it's like, well, if you don't show your skills that you have, someone else will, and that'll just it'll just be there outside of you.
It's like, let's say Anarkist over here owns a glass paint company, and I own a glass paint company. I do much better work than you do. But you're out on social media. Well, if someone's like, man, I need that glass pane fixed, they're going to remember him before me, even though I'm more talented, correct?
Exactly.
Because he's there. And it's just follow you every time I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then I have to think about you. Like, if I'm online, I just see that and it's like, okay, well, that's there.
Let's go back to that. That's a good point you made, Nate, because just the other day, I remember, I forget what I was looking for. I was looking for something online, trying to go to some place. It might have been a restaurant or whatever. And first thing I did was look for the type of restaurant online. Went to the wrong restaurant, and they said, you know what, if you didn't just stumble in here, you would have never found us, because people always they look for us, but then the one that you actually contact, I think I placed the order to somewhere else. It was like, no, you don't have an order.
Don't you love that shit?
I'm like, damn, well, y'all not online?
Everybody looks like an asshole. You're just you're standing there like, oh, well, I fucked up. And the guy's like, and you think I fucked up because you're expecting your food. Like, oops. Like,
So, But yeah, the whole thing was I was looking for the one who actually had presence on the internet, but found the one that didn't, which was probably better. Like, my food was really good. But, I found the one because it's just simpler. Like, I found them right on the internet.
So is the era, Terrence, you're probably still old enough to think about this, but when I was growing up, it was all about road trips. So both my parents are teachers, and so the summer it was road trips. We went and visited his parents, my grandparents in Colorado. We go to Wichita, we go to Arkansas, and then we do a family trip, so like Florida, Maine, whatever. That's what my parents worked so hard for, was for those memories. And a big thing that we would do that I try to still instill in my kids when we go on small road trips or whatever is find something you're not expecting. Right, on road trips, anything goes, right? So you find an old diner, there's a couple semi-trucks in there and a couple of cars, it's good, right? Is that era gone, or has it just evolved?
The era, kind of explain it again.
Okay, so like, for example, there's this like hot dog place on the way to Andrews, Texas, that we would always stop at, right? And a couple of times we couldn't find it because we couldn't remember where it was at, whatever. But like now, everybody's got their own little, for sake of argument, hot dog place on their way to St. Andrews, or on their way to Andrews, Texas, right? So my question is that part of the excitement gone, or has it just changed? Like, think about it. When you, like, Tasty Burger, right? It's a great place here in Detroit. It's amazing food, amazing burgers. It's all over social media, and people know about it because of that.
Right.
Word of mouth, you might try it and might not, but now it seems like the internet, social media has more influence on that type of stuff.
Yeah, word of mouth seems bigger now, even though technically it's the same thing. It's just more people. Right. Because you're just there. Yeah.
Right.
I would say it's evolved, kind of like you said. Because I certainly wouldn't say it's gone, because I think part of that is, even though it might be, everyone has their own spot, there could be things like, I think a great example is In-N-Out Burger. I've never had it myself, but I can watch a million different people on YouTube or hear it all the time. It's like In-N-Out Burger is great.
So when you see one, you're going to stop.
Yeah, I might. I mean, it's still not 100%, but it's like, that's one of those things where I'm always like, In-N-Out Burger, because I don't think we have that here in Detroit at all.
No,
I didn't think so.
I think it's California.
Yeah, a lot of California.
Yeah, and so, a lot of the people I watch on YouTube is California, but it was the same with, like, I would say Chick-fil-A, because we have like one here, and it's in the Metro Airport. Yeah.
My wife makes me fucking drive there, dude. There's one in Toledo. Yeah. No, there's one in Toledo.
Damn.
The one in the airport just opened up, but yeah, man. Yeah. And then there's a place back home called Planet Sub.
In St. Louis?
Kansas City.
I'm sorry, Kansas City, I mean?
Dude, so fucking good, man.
Wow.
So good. And they built one out in Ohio, and Katie was pregnant with my third. And she was craving it. And so I'm looking it up. Dude, we lucked out, man. Opening week, we drove 2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back for a fucking sandwich. Like,
It's so funny.
You know, so like, do you get that from the internet? That's what I want to know, because like, I know my wife. I know what she wants, so I'm gonna be able to give that to her by showing her weird places or whatever. When you're on the internet, I don't know Tom from fucking George.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, although they may like it, I may not like it. So I'm not willing to take that 2.5 hour drive.
And I think that's where kind of that internet scale comes in, where like if you are some random person, then it probably won't matter. But if, like, a great example I would say is Markiplier, because he's really big on YouTube, that would probably matter if he said something. Like, oddly enough, when you mentioned going down, I just watched a video that he did where he went, because he's in California, and the closest Cracker Barrel to him is in Vegas. And he made a whole video about him driving, and he got there at like 10:20, and it was closed. Like he called them, and it was like, yeah, we probably won't make it, but he tried anyway. And so he got there, and it was closed. He was like, well, crap. And so clearly, because they edited the video, he was there during the day, and I was like, that meant he drove back the 2.5 hours at night. Yeah, he could have. He probably could have, just got a spot in Vegas. But it was like, either he went back the 2.5 hours or he did stay there.
The night.
Yeah. And it was like,
for Cracker
Barrel. Yeah, and it was just really funny to me. And that's like, that's not that big of a deal here. Like, I've never been myself, but I know we have quite a few.
You've never been to Cracker Barrel?
Oh, yeah, I know,
my God, dude, we're going. We're going. You got, oh, man. It's like a smorgasbord of hick, nostalgia, and just great food.
Like, I know because like I hear about it all the time. It's like, I've never been myself, but it's like, we have it here. And I feel like it's been, in recent years, it's gotten more popular, at least in this area. Because I'd hear about it.
Really big,
and it was just really funny. It was like, you mentioning going down, it's like, that's what he did. So I wouldn't say it's gone. I would say maybe it's more of a vicarious thing now than it has ever been, because you might not be as invested to do it yourself, but you might enjoy someone else's journey. Like, even if they say, oh, this is really good food or something, that might not make you go to Cracker Barrel, because it's just like, it's still just, it's not like a different type of food. It could still be.
I like the word you said, vicarious. I like that, because that kind of bleeds me into something else. Has the internet made us lazy motherfuckers?
Has it made us lazy?
Half and half. I would say I'm more invested because of the internet now, because before I got into doing YouTube, I wanted to make video games.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what I went to U of M for. That was mostly because they said they had this whole game program, which they lied about.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a good story, by the way.
Oh, man, we got to hear that story.
Next time, I'm going to have Invisiblekatana. Because he totally got gypped into going to U of M, bro. He totally got gypped out like $200,000, but go ahead.
But, yeah, like that's ultimately why I first went there, was to do game design.
And yet he can laugh about it. Man, I'd still be like, fuck you, I'm happy piece of shit.
But...
like, games? What games? Motherfucker, take this class on arithmetic.
Art history. But yeah, when I first got there, and I mean, this is no matter what you do, because it's college, they make you take all the useless courses. So I was in like art history.
Right.
That got me into writing. Like, I started writing stories. Like, I was hardly paying attention in class, because I was just writing like a story that I wanted to write, because I was like, I'm not, even if I'm going through school, I have to do this.
The goal
now.
you originally saw was like, fuck, man.
That's
I don't know what to do.
Away,
I'm in this limbo.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where my creativity takes me. That's cool.
Yeah, and so as I kind of went through school, I got more into YouTube, because I didn't really watch YouTube. Like, I think I made an account on New Year's Day. It was probably like 2007, so it was still only like 2 years after YouTube came out. But
2007, man?
Dude, I've never made a YouTube account. I'm like, what?
that's interesting, because I don't know anybody who started YouTube that early. Like, YouTube.
I mean, I didn't start it, but I was.
I made an account.
Yeah, because YouTube. I guess because YouTube wasn't really big until
Like,
and so for a long time, that's how it was. It was like, okay, I have an account. I'll have. I'll find a random song on here, or I'll look up a movie, and that'll lead me to it. So that's how I found like quite a bit of music, was because of
Me too.
It would be like I'm looking up a movie, and then it'll be A&Vs or whatever.
Yeah, I never saw YouTube as that, man. Like, I'd go to a party and I'm like, oh, well, how do you guys playing your music? YouTube, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Especially before the laws really came out.
Oh yeah. Well, you can find
anyone could anything and everything as far as YouTube.
Like, this 50 music is awesome.
Yeah, you can find whatever, but. That was kind of how it started. It was YouTube. Like, I just watched videos like other people,
right.
And then as I was going through school and I would see other people, I would start following people, because I still only follow probably like a total of maybe 15 people, which for me, I think that's small compared to how other people I think follow.
Slipping, bro. I follow like 500 people.
Yeah, see, I don't do that.
Christ, man, I can't even keep up with my 4 kids. 500 fucking people.
I'm subscribed to almost 500 people.
Yeah, see, like I watch like as far as gaming videos, I watch 3 people. It's Game Grumps, Game Grumps, Jacksepticeye, and Markiplier are like the 3 people I follow for games. And then outside of that, it's like the super old people I follow when it'd be like, follow me and I'll follow you, that sort of thing, where it's like you
just follow random motherfuckers who follow you back. Yeah, I hate that shit. I'm like, no, I ain't following your ass. So you can follow me if you like this.
But you'll follow 500 people? Fuck you, man. Show some love, man. No, fuck you.
I'm gonna keep it real. The way social media works, if you can do follow for follow on Twitter, Facebook, you just friending people. You can do follow for follow on IG. But
I don't like any of that anyway.
Yeah,
like it's pointless to me to do that. Like back then, it was less relevant because I wasn't really doing anything, so it was just subscribe anyway. But now that matters to me. It's like I'm not gonna follow you if you follow me. Like I follow like 9 people on Instagram, and it's like because I'm a nerd. Is Mark Hamill from Star Wars. The official Transformers page on Instagram.
The official?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Sam Lake, he's a writer from the games, Max Payne 1 and 2.
Oh.
And because I like him, he actually does like photography on Instagram. Like that's pretty much what he does. And I was like, I love Max Payne, so I follow that Remedy, the company, on Twitter, just because I was like, you know what, I love those games. And it took me a long time to do that because even with people that I like, it'll be like just something random will pop up and I'll be like, I'm gonna start following them because that's something that I might not think of as much anymore, but because I love that so much as a part of my childhood or something that I still think fondly of, I'll follow it now, even if it's not current. It's just like that's the thing. But
why do you think our generation is so obsessed with nostalgia? Why? I mean, dude, we are, man. I mean, like, my wife threw me a 90s party, and I was like a fucking little kid, dude. I mean, she had Reptar posters, and I'm just like, you know, she had fucking Razzle candy and Runts, and I'm just like, oh, shit! You know, like, but why? Like, why are we obsessed with that shit,
I think every generation is, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you think it's just more prevalent because
we are
social media, and we're a little...
I think we are just getting to a stage where we can be nostalgic. Like I was saying, like, I always feel young, but I'm sometimes I gotta just come to grips. Like, fuck, I'm 27. You know, I'm almost 30 years old. Especially at work.
Motherfucker, you're still young, dude. Well, I mean, I love you. Like,
I'm just saying, I'm old enough to, now that they're a kid. What did I tell one of the kids at work about? And they were just like, what the fuck is that? I can't remember.
Fucking, all kinds of shit, really. But yeah, right. VHS.
I gotta talk to him and tell him what tapes were, how we used to rewind things. You know what I mean? Like,
man, waiting for that thing. Like, when you were a kid, you didn't know if you could hold it for that last 10 minutes of the movie, knowing that you could use the bathroom to rewind it, to rewatch it, and you're just like, man, if I go to the bathroom, then I have to wait for the thing to rewind. God damn, like.
Oh man, but
like, I would say a part of the nostalgia definitely comes from this weird in between that we're in, where, as far as what we have, you know, generation Y, you know, X, Y, Z, that sort of thing. I think it's more of a blending now than it's ever been before, because you go back to, you know, you start going back, say 1900s, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, up to, I would say, maybe up to the 80s, 70s, 80s. That was that generation, and that was pretty much it. Like, obviously, for certain things, it's effing depressing in the 1900s, so it has to be that way. You can't, it's nothing nostalgic. It's like, great, it was more war. Mm-hmm. But you get to a certain point, like now, even though we've had things, you know, you have like 9/11, so of course that's within a certain time span as far as decades and things like that.
Right.
We can still go back to other stuff where it was like, that's Terminator, which is awesome. Or that's Gremlins, which is awesome. And, you know, it's 80s stuff. Like, Stranger Things, I think, is a perfect example where we have people who grew up during the 80s making the stuff that newer generations watch. And it's like, I don't know, maybe it's because of partly me being a nerd, but I like 80s stuff because I love Transformers so much and G.I. Joe. So I got into a lot of 80s stuff with older movies and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that blending of things being that way kind of just stayed. So it's almost like a nostalgia, even if you were never a part of that. Like, of course, I was never...
You weren't born in the 80s, but...
Yeah, like, I was...
And to feed off you, like, that's one of the things, you know, we talked about traditions and all that stuff earlier. That's one of the things I love about taking out with my kids, man, is I'm like, man, you know, this brings me back. You know, like, dude, I was dressed up, man in the yellow hat. and grown-ass adults gave me candy because I was dressed up tonight. You know, and I'm like,
Take the Snickers, man.
they're like, you dressed up, man, good job. And I'm just like, yeah, I did. You know, so like, yeah, but back to your point, like, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, I think.
All right, one more topic before we get out of here for you guys. We're gonna get into the
103.
We're gonna get into the conspiracy level of
Oh
things.
shit.
The conspiracy.
None of this Betty White shit and that.
Fuck you. Listen.
All right, let's go with your one, the one that you like, the Mendoza effect. No.
Mandela effect.
The
That is a good one. I do like that.
Mandela
I've seen
effect.
some YouTube videos.
You
of that.
seen
That's
some
actually pretty
stuff.
cool.
All right, let me break.
Okay. All right.
Let me break this down for the people listening don't know what we're talking about first.
All right.
There is this thing, I guess you can call it a concept, called and I knew the lady who made up the name, but I didn't write the shit down for the podcast. I'm sorry. That's how the shit gonna go. But there is a lady who came up with something called the Mandela effect because what she found out at a party somewhere was that I guess she was talking to some friends, and some people remember Mandela dying in the 80s in prison. So, but half of the room there remember, like, no, he actually got out of prison, was the president, and died like a few years ago, right? Well, I don't know, like 2013 or 15, something like that.
Very recent,
Yeah.
So that was the thing, because people were like, no, he died in the 80s. People remember like him having a service and all types of shit. But then you got people that's like, no, this dude literally died recently. So what's actually been happening a lot recent is a lot of things like that have been happening where people have to rely on their minds, but they perceive things that have been different. For instance, and actually, Terrence, I text you one time to see if you caught this, cause I want to freak you out.
Thing.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't want to freak you out.
I was wondering why you texted me that. Okay.
No, let me tell you, I was texting him when I really got into this, bro. I was on the internet.
Fired up. He's like, Nate, I gotta tell you this conspiracy. All right, but go ahead, because I'll spit my truth here.
Okay, I text Terrence. This is one it was like, it's a couple of them that when I heard, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I'll tell you the few I thought, like, because some of them just like, okay, you can remember that. I don't know, maybe I don't know.
Some
like
stuff
Kit
more
Kat.
popular than others.
Kit Kat used to have a dash in the motherfucker. No, it doesn't. So it's like, okay, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? Even though I fucking love Kit Kat, but who the fuck cares? But the ones that I say are very, very convincing to say, all right, there's some crazy shit going on. This is the one I text Terrence. I was like, hey, Terrence. This is what I said in the text. I'm like, yo, T, what up? He was like, hey.
You have to talk about it in that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. Fuck.
All right, I'm like, yo, what up, T? He like, what's up? I'm like, hey, in that Star Wars movie, did Darth Vader say, Luke, I think I asked you, what did he say? I just asked you I want to see what you say. Yeah. And I was like, what did Darth Vader say to Luke? And he replied back, no, I am your father. So I'm like, oh shit. Like, I want to know, did you look that up or did you just off the dome?
I knew that because that's one of the big things as far as like misquoted movie lines. That's like the biggest one that there probably is people assume that Darth Vader, well, you go ahead.
Okay. For some reason, they got tons of videos because I guess the line has been and has always been, apparently, no, I am your father. But then you can look right on YouTube and see things like The Simpsons quote, Luke, I am your father. Different TV shows say, Luke, I am your father. Yeah. And, another one that I thought was really, really interesting, and I'm not even really a religious person like that, but it's like if you can change shit from the Bible, we get into some pretty scary shit. But one of the ones, I don't think I told you about this, Nate, was supposedly, and he's rolling his eyes right now because he don't believe. He ain't a believer.
It's good, man. That's not okay. Keep going.
All right, in the Bible, there's a passage. I don't know, Luke, Isaiah, one of them motherfuckers, but it's a passage that used to say in the.
You just classified this Bible.
One of them niggas, one of them motherfuckers. But there was a passage that I guess used to read in the Lions shall lie with the lamb. But if you go into your Bible right now, it says, and this is kind of scary, and the wolves shall lie with the lamb. So I don't know, ask somebody who into the Christianity stuff about that.
I mean, that could be possible because technically the Bible has changed. So
it changed
that's not
the moment it went
thing.
from AKA God to a human writing it. Like, whatever. Well,
Like
that's for a different discussion, but...
Yeah, so that one, I would say the Luke, I am your father one, the wolves lie with the lamb one, and one... That was another one I thought was real interesting. Oh, no, this is kind of stupid, but I'm going to throw it out there. Sex in the city is now sex and the city. Dun dun dun.
I think people just said it so fast. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
what-
Like, okay, so this is my thing about it.
Go with your lies.
It's
Hurry
just-
up. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the sheep syndrome, man. It's just it's just you
Done
know
enough,
when,
yeah.
Sheep syndrome.
it's not a conspiracy. It's, oh my God, did you see that movie? Did you hear the line? Yeah, Luke, I am your father. Fuck yeah, you know, like.
Yeah.
So so emotionally you remember that as that, and so you're going to remember that as that, no matter what. And you know, changing words and remembering certain things and all that stuff. Some point when you heard that, you were at an emotional high, low, whatever, but you had that thing, and it's not a conspiracy. It's just what people
It was there.
think,
Yeah.
and we're there, and they believe what they're gonna believe. I mean, perception is truth, man. You know,
And I would say for the Star Wars thing, for a long time I did think it was the wrong quote, and even for a long time I updated it and I was still wrong because I thought he still said Luke, but people just took off the no part. I always thought it was like, no, Luke, I am your father, but he doesn't say Luke at all. He says it, you know, before he even says that line, it's just, no, I am your father.
Right.
So even when I thought I had it changed, it was still technically wrong. And like, I knew it wasn't just Luke, I am your father. I just thought people left off the no part.
Right.
But Luke was never in there to begin with. It's just Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. That's a big effing deal, and that's all it's gonna be.
Right,
Yeah.
and think about that. Like, the quote isn't going to be as famous if it's remembered. No, I am your father. Well, what?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Who is whose father?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, to be able to brand that, you have to do that, and
But why wouldn't they just put that in the movie?
Because it
didn't matter in the movie.
Yeah.
They don't. When you
Like
make
Star
a
Wars
movie,
was big, but
like
yeah,
this
it was like
podcast,
one quote.
right?
Who knew? Yeah.
Take example for this podcast. There's a part that you really like and you really hate. There's a part he really likes and he really hates. There's a part that I really like and I really hate. Right? Everything that I'm in. No, I'm just kidding. So,
I've hated
but
everything
people
you
that
said
are
so
listening
far.
have a favorite
I've hated
part.
everything you said so far. Keep going. No, I'm just kidding.
So, people listening have a different thing that they love and they hate. And that's why when you watch movies and you see shows and all this stuff, like why second seasons aren't always the best in TV shows, because they don't know what people like the first season, right? They don't know what the mass accommodated with. Like Stranger Things, I know you brought it up earlier, but they're going to things that they thought people liked, that for me, like the sorry, spoiler alert, with the Inside Out or the Upside Down and everything, like the larva's obsession with the Musketeers. I don't need that again. 11 being obsessed with Egos was enough for me. I don't need another creature's
thing.
obsession with a candy or a marketable item, right? So for me, people just fall in love with what they want to fall in love with. If they think it's the truth, it's the truth. That's not a conspiracy, man. That's just mass idiocracy. If you want to put a word on it, it's just mass miscommunication. It's not a conspiracy, man. It could be, but I mean, to me, like
The Bearstein Bears. Let's go on that. Let's go.
the most racist
No.
fucking my god,
No,
dude.
Nate, let me ask you, bro, because I don't think you know about this, bro. Is it the Bearstein Bears or is it the Bearstain Bears? Which
Who
one?
gives a fuck, dude? Like, we
Which
were
one?
talking before the podcast. We were talking about an anime, and I mispronounced it.
What was it?
Ajin.
Ajin.
It's on Netflix.
That's some
Netflix.
Asian shit that any American gonna mispronounce. But the Bears, no, which one was it? Was it the
Man,
Bearstein or
motherfucker,
Bearstein?
I don't care. Berenstein.
It was Berenstein,
That's what I'm gonna go with. That's what I called it. So fuck it. Yes.
but it's spelled with an A. It's Berenstein.
I don't give a fuck. I called it Berenstein. Like this shit doesn't. Like.
Hold on, no. On your point that you was going before.
Okay.
How did a whole generation? Because I never remembered anybody calling the Berenstein Bears the Bearstain Bears. I never remember not one.
I think it's the same as you said with Sex in the City. I swear it has to be the same. It's literally Stain and Steen.
Stain. And
That's so fast together.
Yeah,
It's Bearstain Bears.
And think about it. When you get corrected, not like a natural conversation like we were having where like I said it and he goes, oh, I've never heard of that, but I watched this one. I'm like, oh, that's the same one. I just didn't say it right. And he's like, okay. But if I'm like Asian and you say, oh no, dude, it's Ajin, I'm like, oh. All right. So like think about that. If you're trying to mass produce something and make money off of it, are you really gonna go, listen, motherfucker. Because think about it. In the past, people have done that and they failed. So why? Why waste your breath? Let people pronounce it that way. They're still their $10 is worth the same as the person who says bear a stain.
That's true. That's true.
You know, like fuck that, man. It's not a conspiracy.
No, one more one I want to bring up, because this is probably the most interesting one. Hold on, you don't agree that this is the most interesting? I want you to look this up, Nate. You got to.
All right.
Okay. There was who remembers Panic at the Disco? You remember them?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That was a band, right?
Yeah, they took the exclamation point off because one guy was heavy into drugs.
Nope.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, you need to listen.
Okay.
I want to hear this because I haven't
in the song, the only song I know from that fucking band, because I don't even know members. Real talk, I don't even know any of the members.
Well,
all I know is one song that
the disco? No, there's 3.
Not anymore.
Oh, is it just one now?
I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the right group. Yeah, Panic at the Disco is just the one dude now.
Yeah, it's the one dude
He
now.
keeps the name.
It used to be 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's just one now?
It's just him. Still makes good music though. I know I heard the song recently.
Here's the thing. I don't even know this dude's name, but he's gonna be relevant to this story.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
Panic at the Disco had that one song that everybody liked, including me, because I don't know any of the other songs. I Write Tragedies, Not Something, right?
That's the album.
That was the song too.
Yeah.
That was like the lead single. And in the line, in the song, he said, it's the part of the song where I stormed in with the haven't you people ever heard of?
Closing the goddamn door.
Closing the goddamn door. And it was the end. I used to sing this song so much, bro. Apparently, people must have had it wrong.
I'm interested in this because I sang it wrong for years. So I'm really interested in this. Sorry,
Well,
my
definitely
bad.
not.
I was trying to find the song.
Copyrighted.
Yeah, my bad. We'll edit that out. Shit, man. Shit. Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton, we ain't fucking with that motherfucker.
I can't remember the exact line in the song, but it was like, haven't you people ever heard of? Either closing the door, or it might have got turned to closing a door, right? So a very popular. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
A very popular, some chick, I don't know her name, but she got like a lot of followers. And she hit that guy up, the lead singer of Panic at the Disco. And I guess she was on the Mandela thing. She was like, look, what is it? Is it closing a door or closing the door? Do you want to know what he said?
What?
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
He replied to her and said, I don't even know. This is some Beristain shit. The writer of the song said that. He said, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, he said, I don't even know anymore because half the fucking stupid people that buy my fucking music think it's the, and the other half thinks it's A. So I'm not making a choice because I'm going to lose 50% of them. Fuck that. No, man.
So you telling me a writer can't say, hey, this is what I wrote? He literally said,
I mean, that sounds like
it used to be
over
this,
a decade old, isn't it? I mean,
it probably is.
It's something like that. It's
But he has to have
2006.
written it and performed it so many times. You know, he just wrote it once and then forgot about it. That was his biggest song. He probably had literally just performed the shit 3 days ago. So if he don't know what he wrote,
okay,
they changed it.
Who's they though? Like what kind of? Them. So conspiracy theories, in my opinion. Now this is just a humble middle-aged white guy's opinion of a conspiracy theory. Means that it's just like murder. There has to be a motive. There has to be there has to be an end game.
Can I go into that?
Jesus.
Can I go into that?
I mean, we're an hour at 12, so.
Fuck it, man. Go ahead, dude.
Okay, I'm gonna go in.
I got time. It's up to y'all.
We're good, man. You're keeping me from the kids and wife, so fuck it.
Okay.
All right.
Research all of this because I'm not bullshitting.
Dude, I'm not. No.
All right. Know that I'm a weirdo. Of all the nerds in this room, I'm the only avant-garde nerd. See what I'm saying? I like to study the nerd shit. A lot of nerds ain't even on yet.
Oh my God, who cares? Just
okay. All right. So I was studying quantum mechanics and quantum computers, right?
Okay.
Interesting shit because they have a new quantum computer called D-Wave. Have you heard about this? D-Wave. Do you know what a quantum computer is?
Not really. It's
well,
basically like a mega super. Yeah, for everybody.
Right.
I guess.
A quantum computer is basically they came up with the technology to have a computer. Man, y'all gotta look up this computer.
I am D-Wave. You said
D-Wave.
Okay.
Basically, what they found
like
out.
D-Wave.
D-Wave, that's
Okay.
it. It's a quantum computer. And they literally say, like, this computer is built to basically change reality. They can go into parallel realities with this computer. They
Quantum
said that.
entanglement. Okay.
Basically, the dude who either created it or was like on the board of people created, he said it's like this huge computer. They have to box this chip. That's D-Wave.
Okay.
They have to box this chip in a big box and have it colder than outer space to keep this computer going. You see what I'm saying? And they actually said with it, they mapped out the entire universe. They know every inch of the entire universe because it's computer.
Okay.
He said standing in a room, the guys, and this is like a real famous quote. He said standing next to this computer is like standing next to an alien altar. And basically, that's what he said. He said we're trying to alter realities with this computer. A lot of people don't tie in the Mandela effect with this D-Wave computer, but I think the two are like hand in hand, because you talk about a computer that they actually say they use to look into different realities and maybe even sometimes mesh realities. And they also said one thing that this computer has done is map the entire universe.
So what you're saying is that we're living in a universe where half the people think Berenstain or Stain, and then the other half thinks Berenstein.
What?
And then there's another.
No. How it works is, it will work like this. Let's say this is true. I know you probably don't believe it, but let's say it's true. It used to be Berenstein, and at some point they changed it to Berenstein.
Okay.
What they did was, according to this computer, the way it works is, it's just like a whole bunch of quantum shit. Like, you have so many different realities. Like, right now, Nate, you wearing blue shoes. But in the parallel reality, you would have been wearing red shoes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That reality
in the
is,
world that Mandela died in the 80s.
in one of those worlds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
Let's
you.
say you have an infinite amount of just shit you could have been done. You could have wore socks today, which you aren't.
Come on, dude. Man, look at this. I mean, I know we're not on video, but like, look at the dad outfit, man. I got a hoodie on, Crocs, but I'm wearing my Dockers, you know?
Khakis on. No. So yeah, that's kind of how it works. Apparently, like, it's just so many, like, you could have chose socks. You could have chose not to wear any shoe. Like, all those realities exist.
Okay.
But this one is the one that you manifested. No socks, blue Crocs.
Okay.
With this D-Wave computer, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could literally go back and switch it till now. So you could just look down like, oh shit, I didn't even know I had red shoes on the whole time. I guess I'm tripping.
Thought you were wearing something else.
Yeah.
Okay. So just blending things together.
It's like it used to be, because that's kind of how people explain, like, okay, we have all these shows saying Luke, I am your father. Luke, The Simpsons said Luke, I am Luke. So why are people just crazy? People just remember it a different way, or was it this way before and now it's changed again? So very interesting stuff. You want to listen to it?
I wish
I'm
it
Pete.
yes.
I am. I'm not gonna say, ooh, but you know what? You did it, man. Ding dong, the witch is dead, man. But no, I mean, it's interesting when you bring that kind of stuff up, because for me, when you believe that kind of stuff, like, is that our way of saying we always have the ultimate choice? Like, even the wrong decisions we make affect the world?
Right.
Because we're not wrong, different, I guess. Right? So, like, if, you know, I would have, a couple weeks ago, when Kinsey was all up about, you know, Curious George and stuff, if I would have kept with her original one, which was My Little Pony, then I would have been something different. And then the connections that we had today as what we did would have been slightly different, right?
Maybe this podcast wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. I mean, you know, so, but why do we think like that? Like, it's crazy to me that out of all these species, this big world, we're the only ones that do shit like this. Like,
human beings instead of animals.
Right.
I mean, it got to be that way. It kind of has to be that way.
Why?
Because as human beings, I feel like we share similar things with animals, but one thing that clearly separates us from animals is our consciousness.
But how did that manifest? Because by your theory, if we're calling it that, when we created the D-Wave, changed it. Now, when the first human who decided to make an interaction or whatever, or divulge into that part of their brain, decided to do that, right? So, like, man, fuck that. Like, I don't know, man. I think animal species are a lot more intelligent than we give them credit for because they're different, right? Just like as a human species, we treat people differently, that look differently, talk differently, act differently, are raised differently, whatever. Have we done that as a society to species that could have been much better for us than what we've made them now?
That is really hard to say because nature versus nurture, which is for all things across the board, because there were I don't know if I was in high school or like middle school or whatever, but I remember watching this video of this dude. This is back when experiments were just like monkeys, who cares? And this guy did an experiment on monkeys where it was nature versus nurture. One of them was like breastfeeding. So it's like, will they go for the robotic thing that doesn't have like the comforting carpet on top of it, or will they go for the wire one that does have the milk? And it was smart enough to be like, all right, well, I want to be on the comforting thing, but the milk is over here, so it just leans over. And then there was the one that really stood out to me that I thought was really messed up was they had, I think it was like 5 little monkeys that grew up, and it was just them. And then after however long it had been, they threw them in with like all the other monkeys to see what would happen, and they freaked out, and they were just by themselves because all the other monkeys, even though they weren't thinking about them, and it was just like, oh, it's us as monkeys, we're just hanging out, those 5 were freaking out because it's like, we only know us 5 monkeys, even though they look like us or whatever.
Now, is that consciousness though?
I would say yes.
Okay, so why as a society, I mean, to put in pop culture and to make it a quick question, why haven't we gotten to the Planet of the Apes yet? Why hasn't that happened yet?
But what do you mean?
Well, maybe
Planet of the Apes.
Because
were they
for me, when I hear that story, I'm like, holy shit, man. That's a whole untapped energy source for me, right? We could train these monkeys to clean, to be nurturers for our kids when they're newborn.
Which some people do because they're trainer monkeys. That's
right,
the thing, yeah.
Right. And these comforting animals, how diverse they are now. When we were growing up, it was dogs. Now it's pigs, cat, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, for me, like, why haven't we as a society gotten to that point yet? Or have we, and we don't realize it?
I would say we haven't, mostly because, like, okay, if you look, like Planet of the Apes, I would say it just takes more time. I don't know if that's guaranteed to happen or anything like that, but I would say, a great example, I think, either it's Planet of the Apes or it's robots, right? I would say for sure we are moving towards the robot element. It has happened already, where there are things where it's like, I was listening to my podcast like a few weeks ago, and they were just like, it's a comedy podcast, but they were talking about random stuff, and they mentioned a story. I think it was like Facebook's robot that they made. They're like, we should probably shut this down because they made its own voice.
I remember that.
They started making its own language after a little while, and they could keep up for a little, and then they couldn't. It was like,
no,
probably
I know exactly what you're talking about. Facebook was experimenting with one of those. Like Alexa, those talking computers.
Oh, dude, we keep that unplugged if we're not using it, because that thing freaks me out, man. I'm sorry.
They had two of them talking to each other, right? A male and a female, and apparently, like, at first, they just started talking about stupid stuff and bickering. I said this, but then they realized that they can understand us, and created their own language. And the scientists are like, well, why would they do that? What were they talking about? Well, clearly they did that because they didn't want us listening to it.
So let's go back to that. Let's go back to that point right there, and why there's so much unrest in the world, and why there's so much discouraging conversation and stereotypes and all that. Is it that flight and fight mentality? Is it that Darwinism that just ekes at you, right? Like, because I work with people that speak different languages and all that stuff, and it doesn't really bother me, but that took a long time for me to train myself to do that. When I was young and dumb, 16, and I'm got a kitchen full of people speaking a different language, like, I'm like, man, are they talking about me, or what are they plotting my death? Like, and we laugh because we've all been there, right? In some type of situation, maybe not necessarily that one, but like, so is that why we haven't gotten there yet? Because for the longest time, we've controlled everything. So just like you said, they said, well, this is getting a little weird. When does that stop? Like, because eventually we're going to get someone with the power to do that that's going to be like, well, let's see if we can go further.
Honestly, I honestly believe that we are past that point. I totally believe, like, the type of stuff that's coming out, you have to understand that the technology that we have right now, that we think is so advanced, so cool, these smartphones and GPS and Google Maps and all this stuff, the government literally had in the 50s. They had all of this technology in the 50s. Well, we knew nothing about it. It was some Jetson shit. Now that we have it, what do they have?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They have these quantum computers.
They did, because when you were talking about that.
And that kind of brings me to my point, because you brought Jetsons up, and we can save this for another time, but how much media controls what we're ready for?
Right, that's, yeah.
You know what I mean? How much
They had to
TV,
put-
like, where does the
like the visual
corporate ladder?
cap.
Yeah. And like, you know, like, oh man, people weren't ready for the Jetsons. Let's not bring that
Right.
shit out yet. Let's wait, you know?
Right.
And I think Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, and like those shows kind of play on that. Like, you know, when the Jetsons came, Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
They, you know, the Jetsons come to our world and they're like, oh my God, you're more advanced than we are now. Well, why is that? Why does the media? It's so weird. Like, to me, the media, it seems like it prepares society for the next step.
Yeah.
And I think that goes to your point. Like, there's someone out there, people, whatever, government, the higher power, whatever you want to call it, that knows more than we do, and are waiting until the sheep are ready to go to the
Advance
next.
to the next.
Yeah.
Right. That's basically what it is, I feel like, because this is a lot of stuff I study. I know for a fact that the after World War II, the United States government did a lot of experiments with a lot of those German scientists who, if you just look at records, didn't actually go through the course. They actually came here and started working for NASA.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, they made a lot of advancements, and a lot of people believe, which I also do, the government and the media works together. If they make an advancement, they making it for themselves, and once they've used it a while, it's okay. Can we disseminate this to the public? Or when can we do it? You know, put out something like a movie, put out something like the Jetsons, and if people just really freak out, not ready for it. Like, for instance, somebody brought up to my attention the movie. What's that Will Smith movie where they was
iRobot, dude.
not iRobot, the one where like Enemy of the State.
Oh yeah.
Somebody brought to my attention that when that movie came out, people were so up in arms. It was like, oh my God, the government, they have these things that track you from the sky, and they can do. Now that shit's called Google Maps. You can access it from your phone. Like,
yeah,
you know.
true.
So it's just like they always have the technology. They kind of have to acquiesce, or how, you know, just get us to
like acclimate.
us into it, because they can't
let
just
us freak out on a pretend scale,
right.
so that we're not freaking out on the real thing.
First you gotta do the iPhone 5, then 6, then 7. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, when they already had the shit, you can release the iPhone 20 tomorrow. But we gonna...
When Android had it. That's what
Well, see, that's the other thing, man. Like, let's give Apple some props, dude, because they know how to market their shit.
Absolutely.
Their iPhone 10. And, you know, we may not get Apple as a sponsor after this, but Android had that shit 6 years ago.
Right, yeah.
The face scan shit, I remember my Mega had that. My Samsung Mega. You know?
They're just re-releasing shit.
And,
like,
and I
Yeah,
think
but
a
like,
big part
but
of
they
that-
make it look so cool, man. I watch a commercial, I'm like, fuck yeah, Apple. I'm like, why the fuck am I saying that?
Yeah, and I think
What?
I think a part of that kind of goes to not in the same sense, but kind of what you said about like let people freak out a little bit. It's almost like just let people have it in this sense, and then with them let's consider Apple the government, when they get used to it, then we'll come up with the best part, because that's kind of always the argument where it's like, well, Android had this, and then everyone will be like, but it's
at
better.
the same
when
factor, that's how
iPhone does
Samsung
it.
has been able to keep up. They're like,
Yeah, they
there's
do it,
10 new
yeah.
fucking things. We don't know if it works or not, but it looks fucking cool. And then Apple's like,
sitting back,
sipping their tea, going, like that.
All right.
It seems like people like that. Well, their phones blew up, so we're not going to do that.
All right.
All right, so let's take this and market it
Yeah,
really
and they
well,
perfect it,
and
yeah.
boom.
Okay.
And it can be the same thing, but it's just like,
And
if
that-
we take that back to being on social media, if you can do it better, it doesn't matter if you don't, if someone else is.
Right. Or make it cleaner or better, and that's the beauty. Because to me, Apple is the beauty and the enemy of corporate America. Walmart are those things. Like, you know, they they come in and they go, okay, look at us, we're big, we're powerful, whatever, and they steal from the little guys or people that are trying to keep up with them, right? Pay their little fees to make sure that shit doesn't go wrong, and then boom, they come out with a better product and they're still a powerhouse. Like, back in the day, you know, it was Adidas, then it was Nike, then it was Reebok, then it was Adidas, then it was Nike, and now these companies have realized, holy shit, we don't have to be the power of everybody. We have to find this niche and go, holy shit, you know, because like if you play soccer, you're using Adidas or Puma.
Yeah, right.
If you play basketball,
Nike.
Well, and Converse is making a comeback.
The odd thing about Converse is, and this is funny because it fits with the nerd thing, I feel like Converse is the nerd shoe. Like, if I'm ever online where it's like, check out this stylized version where it's like Wonder Woman or something, it's always Converse.
Right. Yeah.
It's always Converse. I mean, I know other people do it,
because
but Converse
they
is the
were
first
smart
one.
and signed a long-term contract with DC. I mean, Converse saw like, oh my gosh, I think this comic book thing's gonna take off. I mean, and what's crazy, man, and I know we keep looping around and jumping all over the place, but like,
a few nobodies talking about nothing.
That's kind of how life is. Like, you make a choice, you think it's the right one, but sometimes you won't know till 10 years down the road. You're like, fuck, that was the dumbest thing I've ever done, you know, or the smartest thing I've ever done, right? So it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy world we live in.
Yeah, to sum this whole show up, the government is watching you. They're controlling everything you do. They changing shit. They taking the dash out of Kit Kat. We gotta stop them. We have to stop them.
Okay, here's something. It's not a conspiracy. Did you know Kit Kats were made from other Kit Kats?
Wait, what?
Kit Kats are the filling for Kit Kats are made of crushed up Kit Kats.
What?
Yeah.
So is that like a chicken or egg?
Okay, yes. Because my girlfriend, guys, I told her that earlier because I heard that from a podcast. So of course,
what does that mean?
You take it back to whenever Kit Kats first came out. Of course, it's just the wafer, the chocolate, and the thing. But at some point, it was like, all right, well, we have it together already. However factories work with the excess, that excess Kit Kat stuff is used to make the Kit Kat. So at this point, with them being out
is a promotion for them? Like, all right, Anarkist, you went from making the excess Kit Kats to the real fucking thing, brother. Like, you went from the filling to the outside. Like, what the fuck?
I have no idea, but I remember I heard that in my podcast, and I was like, that's really funny. It was like they made it because obviously it's just wafers.
Yeah.
So they could make it without doing that, but at this point, it's almost like, it's an odd recycling thing because it's like you know, with factories, there's always either something breaks, so they won't put it in the package or however that works. So now it's like, well, we got it. Let's just do that because obviously if you make something from what it's already made of, it's the same thing.
Right.
So it's like they just use that. It's just a funny thing because obviously they made Kit Kats, but at this point now,
overhead though.
Yeah, like at this point now,
genius.
it's Kit Kats are made out of Kit Kats, whatever the excess is, because Kit Kats is millions, billions, whatever.
Wow.
So it's just funny to think that, but obviously when they made them, it was just the chocolate wafer stuff. But now it's like, well, we make Kit Kats and we're famous, so we have factories wherever, and we make however many. We can make our Kit Kats out of the extra broken Kit Kats, and it's just funny.
So let's keep going with Kit Kats. I don't know why we're obsessed with Kit Kats, but I wonder if that's how they make the triple layer one. Have you tried that one? It's all three of their, like, it's the dark chocolate, the white chocolate, and the red chocolate. And it just comes out during the holidays.
Okay.
Like for fall and stuff. So I wonder if that's what they do. They're like, well, fuck.
Throw it in a special.
And then we'll put in a special wrapper called special edition. People eat that shit up because it comes out once a year.
Yeah, they do it all the time. Yeah. Like, what's Coke when they started vanilla Coke?
I love vanilla Coke.
Did they
vanilla
take that away?
No, vanilla Coke is just super hard to find. That's the weird thing. Vanilla Coke was like huge, and then it was like, it's still there, but it's hard to find in bottles.
Most, like,
you can find it in cans like all the time.
Local gas stations, you can get them 20 ounce.
Okay, yeah, I feel
the
like
Coke I miss, dude, is Coke with lime, man.
Coke with lime.
Man.
I feel like they do that. Like, they'll tease some stuff and it gives this big, then, because, all right, when they came out with Cherry Pepsi, it was like a huge thing. Now you get Cherry Pepsi. You get Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Cherry Pepsi. But it's like...
And nostalgia is so big, they brought back Crystal Pepsi.
Wow,
yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
they
that.
brought it back, yeah.
I remember Pepsi Blue, which I hated when that came
Pepsi
out.
Blue, I remember that.
I tasted that once. I was like, this is terrible.
My
Pepsi
first
Blue.
experience, so back in Kansas City, there's downtown, it's called the Plaza. It's like a bougie shopping center type place, but it's really nice. They do the Christmas lights. Thanksgiving night, they light up the Plaza. It's a big event. So we finally convinced my dad to go down there, and we all went. Dude, it was so packed. It was awful. But they were handing out Pepsi Blues, and I remember the exact quote from my dad. This shit's awful, but I'm fucking thirsty. And he just drank it, dude. So, like...
That'll do it. Free.
Yeah.
Free.
I mean, but, like, that's the thing is, like, just... You try to wrap your head around everything, and you're just like, fuck, man. Because,
I hated Pepsi Blue. It made your whole mouth blue like you was just sucking on like a Smurf's dick or something.
A Smurf's dick?
Yeah, and like it was just Smurf just came all in your
Well,
mouth.
someone else has got to do it since they only got one girl in the whole club, man.
Right. But yeah, man.
That's what it is, man. She spit, she doesn't swallow, right?
That's how they made Pepsi Blue.
That's why I ran out. It wasn't because it wasn't good.
Right. Just
it just ran out, man.
Anyway, we're going to try to finish this podcast.
Yeah, we can
for
wrap
today.
it. Yeah, we're at an hour 34.
Oh,
so,
yeah, we're going to wrap this up.
We can wrap it up.
We gave y'all double of what we was going to give y'all, but it's just a lot of nothing to talk about.
Yeah, and then if there's nothing that you guys want us to talk about, email us at nstewster@icloud.com. So that's NSTEWSTER @icloud.com. Tell us what you think, what you want us to talk about, whatever. We're open to ideas.
Yep. And even though Nate is a lame and is not on social media, you can follow me and Invisiblekatana on social media because we actually exist on the internet. You can follow me at Anarkist Beats with a Z on IG, Snapchat, and Twitter. You can follow the Anarkist on Facebook.
And I'm at Invisiblekatana on everything: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, of course. If you happen to own Steam, which is for video games, people will know that. I am Invisiblekatana there too.
All right, guys, this was today's episode. Don't forget to tune in next week. We're gonna drop a episode every Thursday, wherever every Thursday. So we're gonna drop this wherever you're watching it at. Don't forget to watch it.
What day was that?
Thursday.
All right.
Every Thursday. Don't forget to watch it again. Don't forget to hit us up on social media. Email Nate because he's not on social media.
Yeah,
some of y'all email him and let him know that he needs to be on social media.
Don't open that fucking can of worms, dude. I'll get 20 emails from my mom and grandparents. Yeah, we don't know what's going on anymore. No,
Yeah, email him and say, where are you, bro? I'm trying to. Where's your where's your handle?
Yeah. And if you want to give us the stuff on, if you rather not do email, if that's a hassle or something, you can tweet us or anything on Facebook, message, whatever. We'll say it's the three of us. So any way you want to do that. Do that.
Yes, if you're a person who lives in this reality, you probably have a social media, so that's where you'll be hitting us up. But anyway, this is our podcast, guys. A few Nobodies talking about nothing, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.